you're about to catch a glimpse of some incredibly famous places around the world. Temples are commonly known as buildings devoted to the worship or regarded as the dwelling place of a god or gods or other objects of religious reverence. Sounds pretty magical, right? Experiences of cultural enlightenment are usually found in places such as these, but that's not what this top 10 list is about today. No, today I'm bringing you some of the creepiest and scariest, downright horrifying temples that exist on the planet right now. And I want to welcome back the Most Amazing Top 10 family for today's list of top 10 scary hidden temples. As always, guys, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Also, stick around for the whole list because I'm going to be doing some more pet shoutouts, which you guys love so much. Remember, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. And without taking any longer, let's get into this list. Coming in at number 10, we have the Dongui Temple. This is dated back to 1319, and it is one of the largest Taoist temples in Beijing. It's also one of the creepiest, home of the Beijing Folklore Museum, which was opened in 1999 and commemorates a number of traditions throughout Chinese culture. The festivals and demonstrations that go on year-round means that there's a lot of blessing going on at this temple and museum. All that blessing is a good thing because the temple also shows you exactly what happens to you if you don't behave. The namesake of the temple, Dongui, is after all responsible for overseeing all 18 layers of hell and the 76 departments within them. It's all very bureaucratic. You can take a peek into the Department of Pity and Sympathy, which is filled with little clay statues of beggars waiting for their appeal. The Department of Accumulated Wealth is packed, of course, and there is also the Department of Implementing 15 different kinds of death. After hearing all that, I think the Department of Accumulating Wealth is the place I would like to end up. I'll do a hard pass on the 15 kinds of death, thank you very much. Coming in at number 9, there are no unsettling depictions of hell here, but the Huashan Tea House in China is absolutely terrifying for a completely different reason. Contrary to the popular saying, getting there is definitely not half the fun. The path to this temple claims about 100 lives every year. It starts out with some pretty steep stairs, but that's a cakewalk. It soon turns into nothing more than broken boards nailed into the side of a sheer cliff face with no safety railings and only chains to hold onto. In some places there aren't even boards. You better be prepared to make your way across a narrow iron bar or use chains to climb a sheer cliff using nothing but foothold chiseled into the side of a rock. What's at the top of this death mountain that's worth risking your life for, you may be asking? A cup of tea. That's it. Thankfully, I'm a coffee drinker. Up next at number 8, its official name is much too long for me to pronounce, so we are just gonna call it Snake Pagoda. And it's called Snake Pagoda for good reason. The temple itself dates back to the 11th or 15th century. The history isn't really clear when it was built, but it was only in the 1970s that the snake showed up. 3 pythons made their way into the temple from the surrounding forest and decided that they were gonna spend their days sleeping inside the pagoda. So they draped themselves around the images of Buddha. One of the pythons in particular is extremely large, about as big as a man's thigh and about 5 meters long. According to folklore, he is very sacred. He's said to be the reincarnation of one of the temple's abbots. I highly doubt anyone is getting through his security, but go ahead and try. Let us know how that goes for you. Coming in hot at number 7 on this list, not a fan of bats? Then you might want to give Bali's Gaolawa temple a miss, because all the chirping in this cave is the sound of thousands of little bats. Gaolawa means bat cave, and it's also the site of the Hindu temple that was built in the 11th century. According to this legend, the cave, which has never been explored in its entirety, was once the hiding spot of a prince, and if you believe in the legends, the bats aren't the only unsettling resident in the cave. It's also rumored to be home to the Hindu snake Vashuki, the serpent that is seen in the company of Shiva. He guards the healing waters that are deep within the cave, deeper than anyone has ever explored. When he's hungry, he will come out and eat some of the bats. Maybe he's the one to blame for COVID-19. Number 6, we're bringing you one of Japan's most sacred sites. Mount Osor is said to be one of the entrances to hell, and it's easy to see why. The temple sits on a volcanic plain. The air is filled with the smell of sulfur. The pock-marked ground spits and blows steam and hot water, and nearby lakes have been turned to a sickly color by the same sulfur that taints the air. It also bears some striking similarities to the long-held depiction of the entrance of the afterlife. It's surrounded by a river and 8 mountains, and the pebbles along the side of the river are supposedly put there by the souls of dead children and babies who are struggling to build a cairn so their spirits can move on. The only thing creepier than ghosts and spirits are the ghosts and spirits of dead babies. We're at the halfway point of our list, and for number 5, we have more snakes, in case number 8 wasn't enough for you. Tanah Lot, Indonesia is perhaps one of the most beautiful locations for a Hindu shrine, as long as you don't mind snakes. And they're not just regular snakes either. These sea snakes are some of the most deadly.
Snake. I'm a snake.
First found by the Hindu wanderer Dangyang Narartha, after he built the sea temple on the rocky outcropping of the Balinese coast, the local king grew incredibly jealous. The king wanted to get rid of the missionary, so he sent orders that Narartha was to leave the island and the temple. When he couldn't hold up against the king's might, Narartha turned his shawl into sea snakes, tasking them with protecting the temple while he was gone. The snakes are still there, and during the low tide, the brave can get close to the rocky island at the base of the beach, where these snakes still make their home. They are still considered the guardians of the temple, and the silver and black sea snakes are potentially deadly. They can definitely kill you. At number 4, we have Nagano Zenkoji Temple in Japan. It is ancient. There is a tunnel beneath the altar, and it is the closest that anyone, including the monks, can get to a hidden image of Buddha. It is completely pitch black in this tunnel. It's supposed to symbolize the journey that all souls go through in death and rebirth. After removing your shoes, you're allowed to walk in this completely dark tunnel. Somewhere along the hidden darkness is the key to paradise that some lucky or blessed visitors can find. If you've never been in a pitch black tunnel where there's no way to gauge your surroundings or even know the way the room is laid out, it is a terrifying experience. I'm going to go ahead and assume that there's definitely a people-eating creature that lives in that cave, and no one has been able to confirm it because no one gets out alive. Finally, we're down to our top 3 on today's list of scary hidden temples. Dolls play a huge role in Japanese culture. They're not just toys. They're used in rituals and ceremonies for purification and prayer, and along with being treasured gifts for everyone from newborn children to the child of a diplomatic ambassador, some are highly collectible, and they're not just treasures, they're nearly sacred. The shrine at Awashima Jinja, Japan is geared towards women who go there to pray on matters like health and fertility. They also go there to leave dolls that their daughters have outgrown because of the belief that if the dolls are improperly disposed of, they might come back to haunt the family. There are thousands upon thousands of the dolls at this temple. Some dolls are thought to be the host of human souls, and looking into the dead, staring eyes of those dolls that are no longer needed, it doesn't seem that far-fetched. Every year, the shrine hosts a festival which some of these dolls are piled into boats and then launched into the nearby ocean. Eventually, the boats sink along with the dolls, and it's thought that they take all the bad luck and misfortune to the bottom of the ocean with them. Coming in at number 2 on this list, ever since its installation, thousands of people have come to visit the shrine of the Bullet Baba. It's not an ancient temple. The legend only started in 1988, but it's incredibly popular. On December 2nd, 1988, a local man named Om Singh Rathore was killed when he crashed his motorcycle into a tree. After the accident, local lore says that his motorcycle kept mysteriously returning to the place of the accident. The authorities even locked the bike up in chains, and it still mysteriously made its way back to the site of the crash. After many attempts, they just decided to erect a shrine around it. The spirit of Om, who had been incredibly proud of his bike, was blamed for not wanting to be parted from it even in death. Motorcycles are not exactly light, so the mere fact that it was able to make its way back over and over again is terrifying enough for it to be on this list. And the moment you've all been waiting for, the number 1 spot on the list, the legend of the Mahandipur Balaji in India. The shrine located at the temple has 3 deities who are mainly worshipped: Lord Hanuman, Pratraj, and Bhairav. The legend which follows the temple speaks of divine power that is believed to circumambulance the temple. It's believed that the power has the ability to cure people who have been affected by evil spirits and help them get free from the clutches of black magic. Unlike a regular temple, this is not a place where you will hear the sound of temple bells. As you step on the premise, you will hear the loud screams of possessed men and women. The sounds might haunt you every now and then. You will see possessed men and women banging their heads, pouring boiling water on their bodies without feeling any pain, and some of them hanging from the ceilings. There's even adults chained to big rocks, beaten by pundits. The entire scenario will give you goosebumps and make you want to leave that place as soon as possible. Alright everyone, that is all we have for you for today's list, and as promised, I'm going to be giving you guys some more pet shoutouts. Remember guys, if you want me to shout out your pet, you can hit me up on Instagram. I pick new pets every day, so if you don't get picked one day, you can message back another day. If it takes me a little while to get back to you, I'm very sorry. I have a lot of these to do, but feel free to message me again and again and again and again. I usually pick a message last, and that's how I kind of go through the whole thing. And without taking any longer, let's shout out some pets. First up, we have Oliver, who looks like such a happy little silly boy laying down there. Then we have Ember, who is a beautiful girl just enjoying the sun and hanging out in the water. She's doing all that summer fun stuff that we all want to do. After that, we have Cookie, who's having a little snooze and might be the cutest thing I've ever seen. Next, we have Big Golden Boy, who's having a big old snooze with all his toys, looking very peaceful. And to close it out, we have an amazing picture of a big fluffy bunny. That's really the most amazing way to end a video. Alright everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I would love it if you could like, comment, subscribe, and hit the little notification bell. Until next time, I've been your host, Shade Arena, and let me know about your travels. Let me know if you go to any of these crazy places. Bye.